Today in the Freshman Run Club, I've run 500 miles in the Nike ZoomX Invincible. This is my last run. Here's my final thoughts. Welcome back to the Freshman Run Club. Happy New Year. I did a little bit of redecorating. I'm feeling good. New year, new me, blah, blah, blah. Let's just jump right into it. So today's video, I am talking once again about the Nike ZoomX Invincible. So this was my shoe of the year for 2021. Check out my Fresh Brew Awards video that I just posted a few days ago. But I really want to talk about this shoe for what might be one of the last times. It has been 500 miles that I have run in the ZoomX Invincible. So I want to cover two things today. One, how did this shoe hold up over the course of 500 miles? And two, do I still recommend it after going 500 miles in this shoe? Again, I've made a bunch of videos about this, reviewing it. My first impression after 100 miles, I did one comparing what it's like to run in a new shoe versus a shoe with 350 plus miles in it. I have done a lot of videos about this, so definitely check those out. I'll link those below, but I really do want to focus on how this shoe has held up over time. So this is what it looks like. I did clean it up a little bit. There was some dirt and some probably dog poop. I don't know, people don't like to pick up after their dogs, but that is a rant for a different time. So overall, this shoe held up incredibly well. The fact that I made it 500 miles is just a testament to how good of a shoe this is, how durable this shoe is. Typically, I will get about 400 miles in a shoe. So one of my favorite shoes, the Nike Pegasus Turbo, after about 150 miles, I run into an issue where the sole of the shoe starts to wear down, the rubber wears away, and you get to the foam. It was about, I would say, 450 miles before it finally wore through the actual rubber, which is incredible. I was a little bit nervous at first because these sort of cleats at the bottom of the shoe looked like they were wearing down kind of quickly after my first 5 or 6 runs, but they held up incredibly well. The fact that I got 450 miles out of this shoe without getting down to the foam is amazing. I'm a heel striker, so I put a lot of wear and tear on the heel and then kind of near the front of the foot. It held up very, very well. The other thing I think people were kind of concerned about is there's so much foam. It's the ZoomX foam. How is the foam going to hold up over time? Is it going to get compressed? Is it going to get contorted? You don't see any kind of additional rubber or plastic materials. It's just the foam in the midsole. It held up very well. So you can see it's kind of creased, but that's purely cosmetic. It's going to crease probably after, your first 5 or 6 runs, but it didn't appear to impact the actual performance of the shoe. So that held up very, very well. I have been running in a newer pair of the Invincibles more recently. You can tell after probably 450 miles, it loses a lot of that firmness that it has, that sort of snap that I really, really enjoyed. But I wouldn't say the shoe is like falling apart or the foam is like completely out of place. And then going to the upper, I mean, this held up really well. I think the only wear and tear that I have on the upper is sort of in the ankle area. I tend to, like, with my heel, kind of kick my inner ankle sometimes, but that's really the only wear and tear. The actual upper, this is a sort of it's supposed to be Flyknit. It's definitely like a tighter Flyknit than some of the other Nike models. It held up really well. There's no noticeable damage to this. The shoelaces did really well. They still look pretty new. So those are the positives of this shoe. The one thing I will say, after I got to 400 miles, I was still feeling good about these shoes, and I said, well, let me try to make it to 500, for the YouTube channel, right? For the content, for the viewers, for all of you out there. After about 450 miles, I think the shoe really started to lose its cushion. I could definitely tell instead of rolling through my stride, I was more like smacking the pavement. If it wasn't for my goal of making a video about running 500 miles in these shoes, I probably would have stopped at about 450 miles. So that's kind of the limit, which is still further than I probably have ever run in any single pair of running shoes. So it's still definitely held up, but I could definitely tell when I got to the upper 400s that it was starting to kind of lose that rigidity that I liked so much running in these shoes. So that's kind of the cutoff for me, would be 450 miles. And look, I'm not someone who runs in a pair of shoes for 2,000 miles like a badge of honor and has it held together with duct tape and string and glue. I think my feet will start to hurt, which is kind of what happened towards the end of this. You could tell the arch support was kind of giving out and it just kind of lost its bounce, its cushion. So 450 miles is about the limit. Now, question number 2, do I recommend this shoe? Absolutely. It was shoe of the year for me for 2021. I will continue to run in this shoe. There have been some images released. I made a video about that too, about the Nike ZoomX Invincible 2, but there are a lot of issues with manufacturing and supply chain. So I don't know when that's going to come out. So I'm going to probably buy another pair of these just to get me into the spring and summer. So we'll see from there. So I will continue to run in this shoe. Absolutely worth it. It is super durable. It lasted way longer. I was a little bit nervous about the ZoomX foam. Like, how's that going to hold up? Definitely held up. 450 miles. I got 500 in it. Probably wouldn't recommend going that far, but for me, this was an awesome shoe. I will continue to run in it and I highly recommend it. So that is today's video. I am going to retire this shoe. We've had a lot of great memories, a lot of great runs. I've run in all kinds of temperatures and weather in this shoe. It's been a good time, but it is time to say goodbye to this ZoomX Invincible. I will continue to run in other ZoomX Invincibles, but retiring this shoe. If you have any questions about durability or really anything with the shoe, I've gotten some great feedback on my other videos and I try to answer those questions as best I can. Ask me a question in the comments below. I'll be sure to answer it. But otherwise, that is the video for today. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you soon. You can see it's kind of creased. I was rolling, Cat. I was on an absolute tear, and you ruined it.